It is a historic day to be here on the ground in Srinagar, a place that has been close to my heart for the 30 years that I have been a journalist. There have been many significant milestones in the history of Jammu and Kashmir, and today is a particularly significant one. This is the first election that is taking place in Jammu and Kashmir in 10 years, and the first election that is taking place after the Modi government's abrogation of Article 370, which gave Jammu and Kashmir its special status within the Indian Constitution. There are many interesting things that have taken place in this election, including the Jamaat-e-Islami, a group that has been banned by the government under the UAPA, backing an estimated 10 candidates in the Kashmir Valley. There is also the engineer Rashid factor, a man who is in prison on a terror funding case, but out on bail, emerging as a key factor, so much so that parties like the National Conference, the PDP and Sajad Loan have called him a proxy for the BJP. As of 5 p.m. today, the voting in phase 1 is at about 59%. In the Jammu region, in places like Inderwal, it went up to 80%. In Kishtwar, it went up to 75%. What do we make of what is unfolding here in Jammu and Kashmir in this historic election? We're here on the ground in Srinagar, and it's a very windy day. There's a forecast for rain. So we can't show you Kashmir in all of its beauteous splendor. We're under a little roof to protect ourselves from the rain and the wind. But I have two very special guests with me, and I want to introduce them. Professor Riyaz Majid is a professor, but he's also with Engineer Rashid's party. He's a candidate himself. Welcome on this historic day to our program. And also joining us is Ifra Jan, the young and ebullient spokeswoman of the National Conference. Thank you so much. And with me is my old friend and colleague of many years, Zaffar Iqbal, who of course is a Kashmiri himself and has covered this state for decades altogether. Thank you very much. I'll start with you, Ifra. The National Conference and the Congress are in alliance. How confident are you that you'll be able to form the government?
You see, Barkha, if you look at this election, if you look at this election, if you look at the Ladakh elections, the Kargil Hill Development Council elections before that, if you look at the Lok Sabha elections that were held here before that, if you look at even the 2019 elections, it is now the National Conference, its allies versus the BJP. So there are one thing that is very clear, there are two sides. When we talk about independence and we say there are more people, there really are no. It's not a
contest. तो आप कह रहे हैं कि जो आपके साथ रियाज साहब बैठे हैं वो बीजेपी की साइड है?
I would not say that. I'm just saying that it is National Conference, its allies versus the BJP government and its allies.
Okay.
There are no independents here. No, in fact, it's not me saying that. If we hear Ravinder Rana Sahab's statement, he happens to be no less than the chief of Jammu Kashmir. BJP.
Of the BJP, yes.
He very clearly made a statement saying that BJP will form the government, they will get so and so number of seats, and they will have 10 independents, they will seek support of the independent candidates. Now, this is not something you will hear from the PDP, this is not something you will hear from the National Conference. The only political party that's shown this confidence has been the BJP. Another spokesperson of the BJP, Turhin Sinha for that matter, on national television said, we plan to make the government with independence in Jammu and Kashmir, which very clearly tells you that there are two sides here. This is not Ifra Jan saying, this is not the National Conference saying.
तो मैं आपसे कुछ बात पूछ सकती हूँ. आपने कहा this is a contest between the National Conference and its allies on the one side and the BJP and its allies on the other. So groups like Engineer Rashid's party or the Jamaat-e-Islami, are you calling them allies of the BJP?
You see, firstly, Engineer Rashid Saab's party is not a registered party. Most people fighting the election as a part of Engineer Rashid's party and Jamaat-e-Islami are fighting as independent candidates. So they are not subject to the anti-defection law. So number one, you need to understand, should we look at them as a group? क्या वो एक group है? क्योंकि ना तो anti-defection law उन पे लागू होता है, ना तो पार्टी का विप उन पे लागू होता है, क्योंकि वो सभी इंडिपेंडेंट्स के तौर पे फाइट कर रहे हैं. This is the only thing you probably anybody needs to know to understand who lies where. Now let's keep this aside. You talked about the high voter turnout. Let's not forget, Barkha ji, in 2010 in the Panchayat polls, National Conference's government, the voter turnout was 80%, which is far higher than what we see right now. Let's not forget that after the high voter turnout in the recent Lok Sabha elections, instead of the BJP government rewarding these people, it further amended the State Reorganization Act and took away whatever little powers these people who are voting in huge numbers had, and ensured the only right people had is now only over garbage collection without the consultation of the LG. Literally, this is a legal fact. And let's also not forget one important fact, that these elections are not happening because the BJP government wanted them to happen. These are happening because the Supreme Court, for the first time in the history of independent India, had to force the government to conduct elections. These elections are not happening because of the BJP, they're happening in spite of the BJP.
Okay, let me bring in Riyaz Saab now. You're a candidate. How does that feel, first of all?
Well, it feels very good because I could feel the winds of change, and you two must be feeling them right now.
Winds, so I'm feeling winds of change.
Winds of change are very much there. So I'm feeling very confident and happy about it that the people have resolved to go for a change.
Now, Ifra just said that there are only two forces right now in this election, the National Conference and its allies, and the BJP and its allies. Clearly, she puts you on the camp of the BJP. How do you respond?
Well, they can always draw that holy line, holier than thou, and they can put others to the corner, the way they put people, educated people in 1987 who wanted to contest elections because they were tired or fed up of the continuous, dynastic rule and exploitation, right? And then they call them the Talibanis, the Afghanis, right? They're so good at branding people, right? So that was 1987, and they're the people who compelled these guys to go for, to become, wear the shrouds and go with the guns and the stones and the bombs, no? So that was 1987. And today it's convenient for them to put us on the Indian side, to call us BJP.
But we are all on the Indian side.
Yeah,
we are all on the Indian side. Indian side pe to hum sabhi hain. You mean about the BJP side?
It's their convenience. It's a matter of convenience. Just, branding us as BJP and RSS.
But there are some questions that, I was interviewing Omar Abdullah, the leader of the National Conference, and he said, why has only engineer Rashid been released from jail? There are so many other people under UAPA. Why only him? There is a sense that there is preferential treatment for engineer Rashid by the central government, by the Modi government. What do you say to that?
I'm sure that Mr. Abdullah is not putting question marks on the working of the judiciary of the country, right? I don't think that there have been many, people who were in jail and they were asked, okay, gentlemen, when would you like to go out? Right? We don't know. There may be something cooking up in the mind of people.
Okay, if that's wanted to come in.
Number one, it is, if you look at all the speeches of Engineer Rashid Saab, he's constantly been talking about the hanging of Afzal Guru. The hanging of Afzal Guru was ordered by the same judiciary that's allowed Engineer Rashid to walk out. So if you can say the judiciary was independent, it can't be that the judiciary is always independent when it lets you out, but the judiciary is not independent when it hangs Afzal Guru. That is number one.
And that was a good understanding.
Let me. So this is the problem. So judiciary works in cahoots with the government when it suits them, but the judiciary works independently when it does not suit them. That is for one. You talked about the dynastic rule. Let's not forget, Riyaz Saab, from the National Conference, there's only one person fighting elections. From the Abdullah family, there's only one person fighting elections. From Engineer Rashid Saab's family, with all due respect to him, there are three people in electoral foray. There's him, there's his brother fighting from Lange, and there is his son who has been appointed as a PRO, which is basically a constitution, which is a post to Engineer Rashid Saab. So you have three people from your family directly in electoral politics.
Please respond.
So let's not talk. I don't think you should have the.
But Ifra, before he responds, is there a certain amount of nervousness? Because after all, Engineer Rashid was able to beat Omar Abdullah and Sajjad Lone in Baramulla and North Kashmir in the Lok Sabha elections. Are you nervous about the Rashid factor?
After 2019, this is a question I was asked by many people. When People's Conference suddenly came up, I was asked, are you nervous about People's Conference? When Apni Party suddenly, emerged, I was asked, are you nervous about Apni Party and Altaf Bukhari? And now you're asking me the same question. Let me tell you why we're not nervous about it. In the Lok Sabha election, and I can show you the videos. Abrar Sahab, Engineer Rashid Sahab's son, went around door to door in speeches saying that my father will be hanged and he'll be put to death if you do not let my father out. This was something very clear. He did not, in fact, they did not even release a manifesto back then. They did not even talk of any genuine point. They just said, I need my father out, even though there was no such legal process.
So you're saying it was a sympathy vote?
It was.
Basis false facts is what you're saying. Yes, sir.
Well, when it comes to the sympathies, I will take pride in it that the people have a sympathy for Engineer Rashid, his genuineness, right? Rather than the people who were so
Is
much
he going
hurt.
to be kingmaker or as he said today, king?
Well, to be honest enough, we are not aspiring to be sames, right?
So what are you aspiring to
We're
be?
aspiring to be the voice of the people who have been feeling so suffocated.
पर इसका क्या मतलब है? In real terms, इसका क्या मतलब है?
In real terms,
मुझे आपसे पूछना है, अगर हंग असेंबली है, क्या इंजीनियर रशीद साहब बीजेपी की सरकार को सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं? If the BJP does well in Jammu, would you support a Jammu chief minister?
It's not about supporting. Are we supporting BJP? I'll say no.
Okay.
No, we'll not.
Okay.
We'll not go with BJP.
Okay.
Definitely not.
Okay.
And then you say chief minister from Jammu. Well, it depends what kind of party or what kind of person is he. Whether he is within our own understanding, he is fit to be there as a chief minister. So that remains to be seen. How do things shape up after October 8th?
Okay, Zaffar, what is different about this election? Just hold the mic up.
Barkha, we spoke for about 15 minutes, and what has been dominant in the conversation so far has been the Engineer Rashid factor. Isn't it a fact?
Yeah.
Now that
No, but
tells you
to be fair, I asked about
no,
that.
that tells you a lot.
Yeah.
Now, what has happened, according to me, is if we had this conversation say 3 months ago, it would have been on an entirely different track. Why are we talking about this now? Because of the parliamentary election. He won with a huge margin, beating Umar Abdullah, a former chief minister, Sajad Lone, who has his base in North Kashmir. So that has really changed the dynamics on the ground. That's why we're talking so much about Engineer Rashid.
But what about the perception of the allegation from parties like the NC that he's a proxy for the BJP?
Right. I'm saying that all of this is in the context of 2019. What happened in 2019 on August 5, 2019? Article 370 was abrogated.
Yes.
All the mainstream leaders were put in detention.
Yes.
Umar Abdullah, Mehbooba Mufti, Engineer Rashid, everybody. Now, all of them got released one by one, except for Engineer Rashid. Right.
Yeah.
Now, people on the ground were hoping, expecting that all these leaders, irrespective of the parties, will come up with some roadmap, some sort of a. You see what happened in Ladakh? They didn't succeed, or they succeeded. They at least sat on a dharna. You know, that environmentalist and all his people, they tried to do something. But here, all these mainstream leaders couldn't really come up with any plan.
But what is his plan? What is his plan?
No, when Gupkar Alliance was formed, they said they will come up with a white paper, will raise the issues with New Delhi. Nothing happened.
So
Gupkar Alliance collapsed.
So let me ask Ifra about that.
In all of that context, when people are feeling disappointed, so to say, from the mainstream leaders, here is a person who was in jail for 5 years. So people say that why not? It may be a sympathy factor. We don't know whether it will transform into a popularity.
Okay, let me get Ifra to respond to that.
But the fact is, the failure of the mainstream leaders, irrespective of parties, to put up any political fight or resistance, tangible political resistance against New Delhi, as far as Article 370 is concerned, may have helped in the emergence of.
They were detained. They went to the Supreme Court. What could anyone do?
Now, exactly the same thing that what happened in Ladakh. Now, all of them came together. At least they came together.
Okay, that's a good question.
Here the leaders came
That's
together.
a good question.
And then
Ifra, why did the Gupkar Alliance, and for the benefit of our audience, after the abrogation of 370, Valley leaders who were otherwise opponents, they came together in an alliance called the Gupkar Alliance. Gupkar is the name of a road very close to where I'm sitting, where in fact former Chief Minister Farooq Abdullah, former Chief Minister Omar Abdullah stay. Now, and Mehbooba Mufti used to stay there up the road, but no longer stays there. I think Zaffar's question is a valid question कि आप लोग इकट्ठे क्यों नहीं रह पाए? आपने एकजुट करके लड़ाई क्यों नहीं किया?
I'll answer that question. Barkha ji, पहली बात, National Conference is not fighting this election independently. हम लोग ये इलेक्शन इंडिया अलायंस के साथ लड़ रहे हैं, जिस इंडिया अलायंस में बहुत सारी पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज हैं। इस इंडिया अलायंस में सिर्फ एक पार्टी साथ नहीं है, वो है पीडीपी। बाकी जो सभी पार्टी पीएचडी में थी वो इस इंडिया अलायंस में भी हैं। इसमें अब एक पार्टी पीडीपी क्यों नहीं आ पाई? क्योंकि लोकसभा में जो डिसएग्रीमेंट उनके साथ सीट शेयरिंग पे हुआ, उन्होंने इंडिपेंडेंट कैंडिडेट अपने खड़े कर दिए लोकसभा के इलेक्शन में, विच इज वाई एक पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के साथ, इस वजह से इंडिया अलायंस ने उनके साथ गठबंधन नहीं किया। लेकिन ये इलेक्शन जैसे हमने पूरे देश में, इनफैक्ट लद्दाख में भी लड़ा था, आज भी लड़ रहे हैं। अब जफर साहब की बात आती है, वो कहते हैं कि जो मेन स्ट्रीम पार्टीज है, नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस है या पीडीपी है, बाकी पार्टीज है, उन्होंने एक रोड शो प्रोटेस्ट नहीं किया। मुझे एक बात बताइए,
they didn't show a road map or a plan.
ठीक है, they didn't show a plan, they didn't show a road map.
Political.
इंजीनियर रशीद साहब को बाहर आए हुए करीबन 7-8 दिन हो गए हैं। क्या उन्होंने एक प्रोटेस्ट किया है? उन्होंने इलेक्शन रैलियां तो मुझे लगता है 10, 20, 30, 40 कर ली होंगी। Is there a single rally? Is there a single protest he held? Zafar साहब, which you said?
No.
Number two, he used to एक नारा इंजीनियर साहब का हुआ करता था जेल जाने से पहले, मैं आपको वीडियोस दिखा सकती थी। वो हर बार नारा मारते थे, है हक हमारा राजशुमारी। Have you heard that slogan? No, let me get it. Have you heard that slogan even once? Ever since he is back. Number 3, he says, आप मुझे इतनी सीटें दे दो, मैं जी एक राजशुमारी है, मैं जी कश्मीर मसले का हल ले लूंगा अगर आप मुझे इतनी सीटें देंगे। मुझे एक बात बताइए, मैंने अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस उनका कोई रोड मैप नहीं देखा। और जहां तक लास्ट पॉइंट बरखा, जहां तक इस जुडिशरी की बात आती है, लेट्स नॉट फॉरगेट, जिस जुडिशरी ने उनको अपनी ओथ लेने के लिए नहीं छोड़ा, जिस जुडिशरी ने उनको बारामूला का कोई काम करने के लिए नहीं छोड़ा, उसी जुडिशरी ने असेंबली के इलेक्शन के बिल्कुल 10 दिन पहले उनको छोड़ा। एंड द सेम जुडिशरी जिसने फादर स्टैनली को एक स्ट्रॉ नहीं दिया। So let's not forget the context.
Small intervention. Small intervention. I asked Engineer Rashid that when Umar Abdullah says that you are not talking about plebiscite, what do you have to say? I interviewed him a couple of days ago, but I'm sorry, Majid Saab, he didn't give me any answer. He just diverted the whole topic. He spoke about something else.
Let me tell you something. Yeah. It's like you said that they did not do any road protest, that Bukkar or what I call as Bekar allies. Right. It was an alliance of convenience of that time. Right.
हर चीज पॉलिटिक्स में कन्वीनियंस ही होती है सर। एक जमाने में इंजीनियर रशीद बीफ पार्टी करते थे ऑर्गेनाइज, एंड उमर अब्दुल्ला told me we protected him from being lynched in the assembly. I am saying all is fair in love and politics. But go ahead. Yeah.
There are always these possibilities.
Love, war, and politics. Yes.
So the point is that, you know, after abrogation, post August 5, 19.
Yes.
To be honest, now the political leaders, the traditional political leaders, vanished from the political scene. You would hardly, if you just go back in time, and you would see there were hardly any statements coming from either Abdullahs or from Muftis. Right. Hardly any. And Mr. Umar Abdullah almost vanished from the political scene, and he was very much reserved about talking about it. And now, today, what you call the sympathy is that, you know, people are identifying with Engineer Rashid. Because the day he came out, the people, it gave a vent to the people's.
Why are they? Okay, tell me, what are they? एक मिनट, what are they identifying? We define that. What is the point? अब लोकसभा में तो बात हुई sympathy की.
Okay.
अब तो वो बाहर है. His sons can't say he's going to be hanged, right? Abhi, what is the point of identification?
My point of this identity is that people feel like that they can express themselves. The kind of, you know, absence of democracy that was there. The kind of absence of democracy, and democracy does not mean voting alone. It does not mean that I'm going to vote.
Yeah.
It means many a thing. You know that better than everybody else around.
Yeah.
Right. That absence of democracy and the absence of expression, that people were, you know, they were yearning to say something, or they wanted.
So you're saying he is a metaphor for the unlocking of suffocation?
Of course, yes.
Okay, Ifra.
Of course, yes.
Ifra, respond to that.
That objective was not provided.
Okay, Ifra Jan.
You see, I wonder. Yes, there has been suffocation, but what exactly is Engineer Rashid Saab's roadmap? Is he even talking about the plebiscite, which he used to? You again did not get any clear answer on that. They will tell you everything, but they will not tell you where did that slogan "Hai Hak Hamara Rajshumari," where did that go? They will not. I mean, imagine a spokesperson and a party that is not ready to tell you what happened to their slogans, what happened to.
But many parties have had to give up slogans. Your slogan used to be autonomy. You had to give it up.
Rashomani was their first slogan.
Rashomani पहले था, उसके बाद फारूक साहब का पूरा autonomy proposal.
We have not given up.
353
You see,
position was there.
19. It's
Yes.
still.
And they kept exploiting
You see,
Kashmir for 370 and 35.
Okay, let her respond. Let her
Number
respond.
one,
Right.
that still remains in our election manifesto. They have very quietly.
Not a pre-53.
No, even
autonomy is in your
Yes.
manifesto, but you're not talking
You know-
pre-53. So what I'm trying to
We-
say is
we're
parties do
talking about-
evolve
No.
on their positions.
Yeah, of course,
Correct.
yes.
But so if Engineer Rashid Saab has evolved on his position on plebiscite, then you should make it clear to the public that you have evolved. What is happening here is that Engineer Rashid Saab is accusing everybody of evolving except himself. And when you tell him, when you ask him a question, he's a master at deflection. Now coming to let's not talk about Gupkar alliance. Let's not talk about let's talk about what is happening right now. Who are the independents that the BJP government is supporting? The BJP refuses to give a very clear answer to who their independent candidates are going to be. You talked about 370. Let's not forget, sir, one of your fundamental candidates from Kupwara constituency is a person who supported the abrogation of 370. I can show you the live tweets. Let's not forget the person, Sandeep Mawa, for example, they talk about being in prison. Interestingly, there has been a person, a political activist in Kashmir called Sandeep Mawa, who's been openly calling for hanging of Yasin Malik. He's been appealing to the government. The videos are viral. He extended his support to Engineer Rashid Saab. In fact, Engineer Rashid Saab was hugging him. So we don't understand which side are you guys
Okay,
on.
Riyaz.
All right. When was it that Engineer Rashid was hugging him? The point is that there are millions of people around on the road and who are supporting Engineer Rashid.
We went to the
And
room
then there are some enthusiasts who extend their support. And I'm
But
sure
there
that
is
you know
Riyaz
that we have not accepted
Saab,
anything out of it.
such
Now, just a sec,
ideological
please.
contradictions
Please,
to
I want to make a point.
Okay.
I would like to tell my dear friend panelist that somebody said it, and she must know it very well, that Article 370 is not a Quranic verse that cannot be amended. Right? The date is 3rd of March 1981. Right? And today, again, they are coming up with, we are going to get it back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the point is that there's always been a dichotomy, there's always been a deception in the whole narrative of NC. And there has been a deception and dichotomy even in the narratives of PDP. Like, now what I'm saying is, all I'm saying is that today they are out on the road that we're going to get back, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. All right. The point is, PDP got self-rule. PDP got self-rule. What was self-rule all about? I said a quote. I quoted some of the leaders, some topmost leaders of National Conference saying that in 1981, 3rd of March, saying Article 370 is not a Quranic verse.
Okay, let her respond to this. Let her respond to this, and I want
Article
Zaffar.
370 is not a Quranic verse that cannot be amended, was said in the context because there was Article 370 back then was a temporary provision and it was to be subject to a plebiscite because there was a UN case going on in that sense. And Sheikh Saab had said that it was not permanent because a plebiscite was to be conducted. He was pretty much saying what you pretend to be saying right now. Interestingly, what happens? Why have they changed their slogan? What is their roadmap? They will tell everybody nobody has a roadmap. And one last
What is your roadmap?
Our roadmap is very
Because the
clear.
Congress,
First
whom
thing-
you are in alliance with, was the first party to make 370 so weak that it almost had no impact.
If it had
was
no-
symbolic.
let's
By
not-
the end of it, it
They
was
are hollowed
symbolic.
to the core.
See, this is exactly
Hollowed
something
it
that
to
the
the core.
BJP will also.
No, but I'm asking you,
I'll
bolo.
tell you. You know, this is exactly what the BJP spokesperson, what the AIP spokesperson is saying. This is exactly what comes from BJP, that it was a hollow article. Number one,
No, you had hollowed it down.
Okay,
No,
okay,
it's
let
not
me
BJP. You had hollowed
respond.
it.
Let me respond.
You changed the
Okay,
process.
let us speak. Yes, sir, let us speak. Let us speak. Let us
Okay,
speak.
please.
Okay.
Please.
Number
Go on.
one, major amendments to Article 370 were made during two periods. One, Bakshi Saab's period, who back then was a B team, and Ghulam Muhammad Sadiq Saab's period.
Yeah.
Interestingly, who happened to be another proxy of the central government. So proxies have played a central role in following the Article 370. And one thing, if Article 370 as AIP spokesperson saying कुछ था ही नहीं तो कर दो वापस. If there was nothing in it,
It's
return
not
it back
about
to
us
us.
because you sold it out and so you're
Return
asking
it
me
back
to
to
return
us.
it back.
But you,
What you
that's
sold,
the
you
line
cannot
to the
see.
BJP.
What you sell,
That
you can
was
never
a
get
BJP
it back.
that was a
You cannot
BJP.
claim it. You cannot.
You
claim
saying
what you sold.
you towing the BJP
You had hollowed it
line.
down.
You
No,
towing the
it's
BJP
not
line.
BJP line. It's
It
not
is the BJP
No,
line.
everybody.
Give us validity.
Whatever
We want
people
the
say
hollow
here,
370 back.
you know,
We want the hollow 370
you cannot
back.
deceive people continuously with these.
Okay. Let me come in here. Let me come in here.
Article 370.
Okay, I think the point being made here is that the National Conference believes that Engineer Rashid has not taken a categorical position on 370. Engineer Rashid's party, Riyaz Sahab here is arguing कि आप ही की alliance partner ने उसको hollow out किया था. आगे बढ़ते हैं. The absent entity, Pakistan. No reference, doesn't matter, no boycotts, healthy development.
Perhaps the first election we're not talking about Pakistan.
Correct.
In fact, no political party
Yeah.
is talking about Pakistan. What used to happen in the past, that every time any political party would say that talks should be held with Pakistan, bridge should be made with Pakistan, roads should be opened, divided families should be meet. Actually, PDP's entire manifesto was based on that there should be more connection. They're not giving up on them, but that is not the priority in this election. After 370 abrogation,
what is the priority?
I'm saying from the people's point of view, when you say that there's suffocation, people want to give a vent to their suffocation. It's also the fact that for 10 years there's no government. It's a bureaucratic rule. And what comes with the bureaucratic rule is the imposition of taxes, is the imposition of curbs. People are really
So do you believe that this is an expression, though it looks like enthusiasm, it's an expression of rebellion and anger within the framework of democracy?
I think so. In many ways it is.
Ifra?
It absolutely is. In fact, this is the reason BJP is acutely aware of this. This is the reason why on most Kashmir Valley seats, they have not fielded their candidates. And in the Lok Sabha election, they fielded no candidates in Kashmir Valley at all. They clearly said, if the spokesperson again, the chief Ravinder Raina Saab again said कि Kashmir में हमारा चिन्ह bat और ball होगा, as in the अपनी party will be their alliance partner in Kashmir. But apart from that, they did not field their candidates. Interestingly, Barkha, in Kashmir at this point, you can get arrested for a post you made in 2008, Facebook post. One person wrote something on his t-shirt, probably Azadi or something. That person was jailed under the UAPA Act. So this is the kind of curb on freedom of expression that we see. In fact, we've seen dozens of orders by the LG government where people are dismissed for something, a Facebook post from the government services, for a Facebook post they wrote 20 years back. People are not given government passports simply because your cousin happens to be a militant. People are not given government jobs because your distant relative may or may not have been a militant. And one thing we constantly appeal to the BJP government is that if you very rightly allow the people with a separatist background to fight an election, to fight elections, to be MLAs and MPs, why would you not extend this human rights approach to everybody
let's talk
around?
about something very important. I was in South Kashmir and I met in Kulgam Yusuf Tarigami, and I also met the Jamaat-e-Islami Sayyid Ahmad Reshi, who is contesting against him. Mr. Tarigami had a question कि why is Delhi blessing those who have been against India? एक वोटर ने मुझे कहा कि जमात को समझाना पड़ेगा कि जो हराम था वो हलाल कैसे हो गया, मीनिंग इलेक्शंस. Jamaat-e-Islami is engaging with elections since I think after 87. 87 elections were widely believed to be rigged. They birthed Sayyid Salahuddin, Yasin Malik. That's historic. Jamaat-e-Islami and your party now have an understanding.
Yeah.
How do you see the Jamaat-e-Islami, a banned organization by the Modi government under UAPA, backing 10 independent candidates?
Well, see, as you said, that politics is all about evolving.
Yeah.
If they are evolving, if they are changing their stance, don't they have a right? Don't they have a right to do things?
I think it's a good thing if everybody takes part, but then we have to explain कि पहले गलत थे कि आप गलत हैं.
No, see, if we put such questions, then there are many people who would be there.
Okay, fair
right?
enough. Fair enough.
Even in the Indian Parliament, you have so many.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So many.
Nobody is consistent in politics.
So does it mean that all these people should be thrown out of the Parliament, or does it mean that the people should not be? Well, if there are well-defined laws for within the Indian Constitution for all the citizens of India, all right, this is the limit you can go to, and this is the point we'll stop you at, right? And Jamaat-e-Islami was a social religious organization. They had some sort of a role in all the things that happened around. But the point is that what I say, सुबह का बुला मान लीजिए शाम को घर आता है तो What do you say? Turn him away?
Okay, what do you
Turn him
say?
away?
I think that's fair. Every government in Delhi, every government in Delhi has tried to bring the separatist into
Of
the
course,
mainstream.
yes.
You see, Barkha
Yeah.
ji, this is an achievement of the BJP government. Let me be very clear.
Okay.
To get Jamaat-e-Islami to participate in the elections is an achievement that I give as a national conference spokesperson, give to the BJP government. The only problem we have, it's not even a problem, the point that I have is that there is nothing wrong in Jamaat participating in the elections. In fact, Jamaat-e-Islami very clearly in a report by the NDTV, and I can show that to you. Jamaat-e-Islami spokesperson very clearly said that they were in talks with the central government where they wanted the ban to be lifted. In spite of that, they said that they will participate in the elections. National Conference welcomes that. National Conference believes that they should also be decriminalized so that they can fight on their own symbol.
Okay.
The only thing we would like to know, and people deserve to know, is that if you evolve your position, people deserve to know why it's not just you are taking a step ahead or you're going a step back. You're completely turning your ideology around. If you've made such a considerable shift in your ideology, especially after around 1 lakh people were killed, how do you explain that? Do people not deserve? Why did it happen?
Let's take final comments. I'll start with you. The Prime Minister is going to be in Srinagar on the 19th, tomorrow, in a few hours from now. What do you think he'll be focusing on?
I don't think he'll be focusing on making any political statements, making up things about that. He will be, of course, saying that he wants to see development in J&K, more tourism, more opportunities. Focus will be, of course, on youth. But that's all about, Prime Minister Modi came here first time, if you remember, Mufti Sahib was the chief minister, and he said that he knows Kashmir very well, and he will follow that plan, and that's what exactly has happened. So of course he went to Kishtwar also. He spoke about a lot of things. He particularly focused on this dynastic politics. That's not something new. He's been doing it in the past, and also how Article 370, according to him, has helped certain families. He might repeat that thing only, and with a thrust on development and focus.
Well, we'll look out for that speech. Ifra, who's going to be the next chief minister?
Whoever it depends on how important and how strongly people want to fight for whatever we lost. Because this is a fight, Barkha, that's going to go to the Supreme Court. The BJP will not give us the statehood back, and that's going to be the first step in ensuring protection for our lands, for our jobs, and to make our domicile laws stronger. This is going to be step one for any government. As I said, this is the roadmap. And if people want this fight to be strong, then yes, it is the anti-BJP camp. As I told you right in the start of the debate, it's the national.
Are you feeling hopeful today? How would you describe your mood?
You see, I would say yes, I'm hopeful. But if we look at the past, 70 years of what BJP has done, how it's gotten the kind of, Barkha, at the end of the day, Kashmir is 1% of India's population. National Conference is a small political party that is fighting one of the mightiest parties India has seen in terms of money, muscle, agencies, everything. It's not an easy fight, but inshallah, it's a fight we shall take to its end.
Who do you think will be chief minister, Riyaz?
Well, to be honest, now it's because 2 rounds are yet to go.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
Date.
Yeah.
We do not know. We do not know.
Yeah.
But whosoever comes to power, whosoever goes to be a CM, as somebody was saying that. It's all about garbage collection. So I understand that Mr. Iqbal had so many reservations about getting in as a chief minister. Even they were so pessimistic about contesting the elections, but suddenly they are aspiring to.
Ifra, you want to respond to that before Riyaz
the same of the garbage collection.
This is exactly the dubious policies of the AIP. It really irritates me, to be honest. Number one, they will not tell you where they plebiscite, where that slogan is. They will not clear where the slogans went, where whatever they wanted to do went, why they have Sandeep Maba and people like Firdaus Baba and their party who've had clearly different stance. And they will now not tell you if it's only about garbage collection, why is Engineer Rashid fielding so many candidates? Why is he going? He is conducting around 10, 12, 15 rallies. He is going door to door like a mad
One of the big
person.
questions is who is funding Engineer Rashid?
The people. Awami Ittihad Party.
It's crowd-funded? Your campaign is crowd-funded?
Well, see, for example, I campaigned for my own constituency. I don't have a car of my own.
Yes.
So it's my friends, my cousins, right? the young people especially, the young people, my students, because I'm a teacher by profession.
Yes.
So it's my students who are so enthusiastic about it. They come with their cars and people come voluntarily.
Are you also hopeful then? Do you both share something in the end? Something you might
about what? The results of the election?
No, at least that there is an election. I think that in itself is something.
I repeat my words that it's all about unsuffocating. That's more important than anything.
I think we leave it there. I think the one thing that Ifra, Zaffar and Riyaz would agree on is that this election needed to happen. This election is happening after 10 years. There is a lot of pent-up emotion. It's going to take time to understand what emotion the people of Jammu and Kashmir are coming from. Is it simmering discontent? Is it enthusiasm? Is it happiness? Is it calibration? Is it strategic? इन सब सवालों के जवाब थोड़ा वक्त लगेगा आंसर करने के लिए, but in the meantime, signing off from Srinagar. Thank you, Zaffar. Thank you, Ifra. Thank you, Riyaz. And do keep watching us for our continued special coverage on the ground from Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you and see you soon. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.